This is Chef Dominguez, and in this video we're going to learn how to temper chocolate using two different methods, the seeding method and the tabling method. So the molecules in cocoa butter can be stuck together in very different ways. There's actually 6 types of crystals that can be created manipulating the temperature of the chocolate. The purpose of you tempering chocolate is so you create only type 5 crystals, which is a type of crystal that is going to give you a chocolate that has a shine, has a smooth texture, has a snap, and doesn't melt in your hands but in your mouth. So there's 3 things that are going to be detrimental when you're tempering chocolate, and of course the first one is going to be temperature that you want to control, but also agitation and time. Temperature, because obviously you're going to bring up and down the temperature of the chocolate. Agitation, that it's going to help to disperse and promote crystallization. And time, because they're not created instantly, they are going to take some time for them to form. Different types of chocolates will have different temperatures for you to melt them, crystallize, and bring them back to work with them. So starting with milk chocolate, that one you have to melt it between 113 and 115 degrees Fahrenheit. Then you would turn down the temperature all the way to 80 to 82 degrees Fahrenheit, and then you would bring up the temperature to work with it about 88, not surpassing 90 degrees Fahrenheit. White chocolate has to be melted from 112 to 113 degrees Fahrenheit, then drop down to 80 degrees Fahrenheit, and then bring up for it to use about 84 to 86 degrees Fahrenheit. Dark chocolate can be melted within 115 degrees Fahrenheit to 120, and then you would drop the temperature down from 82 to 84 degrees Fahrenheit, and then bring up the temperature from 86 all the way to 90, but not passing 90 degrees Fahrenheit. There's various ways you can temper chocolate. I'm going to mention 3, and we're going to work on 2 of them. The first one I want to mention is the seeding method. In this one, you basically melt 3/4 of your chocolate and reserve that 1/4. It does has to be unmelted tempered chocolate. You melt it to the temperature that we talked about, and then you would add the seed at the melting point, agitate it until it drops down to that temperature, specifically depending on what type of chocolate you're using, and then you would just bring up the temperature at the working temperature for the specific chocolate you're using. For the tabling method, you would melt completely all your chocolate to the right temperature, depending on the type of chocolate you're using, and then you would pour on the marble 3/4 of the chocolate, reserving 1/4 melted. You will table it and manipulate it, agitating while you do so, and then you're gonna drop the temperature all the way to 80, 82, depending on the type of chocolate you're using. And once the temperature drops, you're gonna collect all the chocolate and bring it back to the bowl where you have reserved the 1/4 of the chocolate. And hopefully that remaining chocolate is gonna bring up the temperature to the desired working temperature. The last technique I wanna talk about is the incomplete melting, also referred as microwave melting. In this one, basically you go to the microwave and just in intervals of 10 seconds, 5 seconds, just continuously stir and melt the chocolate, but you cannot let it pass 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Alright, so for white chocolate, you want to melt it again between 112, not more than 115. Right now I have it at 113, so I'm going to go ahead and add my seed, which again, it's 1/4 of the chocolate tempered but unmelted. You're going to add the seed, and then it's all about agitation. You're gonna agitate the chocolate until all that seed is melted into the chocolate. And the temperature, it's supposed to drop all the way down from 80 to 82 degrees. So just keep stirring. If the seed melts into the chocolate too quick, that means your chocolate was too hot, so you're gonna have to add a little bit more seed. And if your chocolate temperature drops way too low, let's say it drops to 77, it's not really gonna take in the seed no more, so you can put it back on your bain-marie to help melt the seed in. But again, you cannot let it pass 88, 90 degrees at this point. So my temperature, it's at 89 right now, and I still have a couple of seeds in there, meaning pieces of chocolate that haven't melted into it. So I'm just gonna keep stirring. Remember, you have to take the temperature all the way down to 80 to 82 degrees. And just keep agitating that chocolate. Remember, it takes temperature, agitation, and time. So now my temperature, all the seed is melted in there, and it has dropped all the way down to 82 degrees. So now the working temperature for white chocolate is between 86 and 88. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put it back in my bain-marie, and I'm gonna bring up the temperature all the way to 86. You want to be very careful when you're putting back your chocolate to the bain-marie, because the temperature goes up really, really fast. You want to do for intervals of just seconds. And do not take the temperature while on top of the bain-marie. Always take it aside from the bain-marie, like not with the bowl on top. Because the temperature can go really, really up while you're trying to take the temperature. 85.8, so I'm going to go up just 1 degree. You see that I'm just doing seconds. Also, I highly suggest you put a towel underneath your chocolate, because all this moisture can fall into your chocolate and it's going to cause your chocolate to seize up. So your bowl will have condensation at the bottom, and you don't want that touching your chocolate. Let's see where we're at. 86.3, that's perfect. So now the chocolate should be tempered. Now what you're gonna do is that you're gonna test it. Now that your chocolate's supposed to be tempered, you really wanna give it a test before you start using it. There's various ways you can do that, but what I like to do, I like to take an offset spatula. I take some of the chocolate and I pour it onto a stainless steel surface. That way it's gonna be a little bit colder, and you also have it on the spatula. It should take no more than 4 minutes to set. If it starts to set, then that means you are tempered. If it doesn't, then that means something's wrong and you have to redo everything. One thing though is that when you are testing to check if the chocolate is tempered, do not do this, because that is also agitation, and you could have potentially tempered the chocolate just by dragging it, but that doesn't mean that the chocolate in your bowl is tempered. So just leave some in the bowl, or wait for the one on your spatula to set. The perfect room temperature for you to work with chocolate should be between 62 degrees Fahrenheit all the way up to 65, but below that the chocolate will set too fast and thus be untempered, and if it's higher than 65, then it will take way too long for it to set, and that's gonna untemper your chocolate. So if the temperature of your room it's above 65, you are gonna leave your chocolate to set room temperature, but then you're gonna have to pop it in the fridge for at least a minute, no more than 5 minutes. While you're waiting for your test, remember always to keep stirring your bowl with tempered chocolate. The reason why, it's because the sides can start to set, and you don't want that to fall inside of your chocolate, because that's gonna create little lumps inside of your chocolate, and you want something that's smooth and lump free. So it's been about a minute and a half, two, and you can see the chocolate, it's really starting to set. So that tells me that my chocolate is correctly tempered, and I can go ahead and proceed to use it. So now that our chocolate is ready, I'm just gonna do a little quick decoration. I have a piece of acetate. I'm gonna spread my chocolate in here. I'm gonna wait for it to set a little bit. So for the tabling method, because this is white chocolate, I have melted my white chocolate all the way to 112 degrees Fahrenheit. So now I'm gonna pour 3/4 of my chocolate in here. I'm gonna reserve this. And now I'm gonna table it, so I'm gonna play around with it. I'm going to be taking the temperature, because remember, you want to drop it down to 80 degrees. And once it hits 80 degrees, then we're going to dump it back into our bowl with the other fourth of the chocolate, which should rise the temperature to a correct working temperature. All right, so we're already at that temperature. So we are gonna dump Did that show correctly? We are gonna dump our chocolate back into our bowl. We're gonna agitate it and mix it well enough with the chocolate that was remaining on the bowl. All right. So it should give you a working temperature now. It did drop a little bit more. So all you have to do is put it back on the bain-marie. I do have to bring it up 2 degrees, but once I've done that, my chocolate should be tempered already. And so again, I tasted my chocolate. It's pretty nice and tempered. So here are some chocolate decorations. If our chocolate was properly tempered, you should have a product that's going to be very shiny and that it's going to hold at room temperature. So we have, hopefully I can take them up. So you can see how it's very, very shiny and it's not melting in my hands. It's sturdy and it has a snap. You can tell how shiny it is. Yeah. Just gonna undo the other ones. You have really pretty ribbons. This one was done doing the seating method. And this ones were done using the tabling method. I'm just gonna peel off the acetate. And here you have it, some chocolate decorations. You have a nice shine to it. And it created a snap. There you go, tempered chocolate. So in this video, we learned about 3 techniques on how to temper chocolate, and we actually did 2. Hope that you like it, and see you the next time. Hi, this is Ana Dominguez, and if you enjoyed the video, I encourage you to do all things YouTube. Give us a like, comment below, and don't forget to click that subscribe button and that bell so you get all the notifications for our latest videos.